We good.
Welcome, everybody. We are live here on week 13. I'm your host. This is Fantasy Football Theories. Here joining me today is Ken. He's been playing Final Fantasy for a long time now. Pretty good at those things that we just don't see. Brian, 30-year vet, won many DraftKings championship.
He's our reigning champion.
And he's our reigning champion for League of Record. So what can you expect from us today? We're going to talk about the wins and losses, what we think is going to happen this week coming up, wins and losses, who we think you should sit them and start them, and we're going to go over what we think is going to be the best DraftKings lineup of the week. So, how is everybody doing today?
Better if I wasn't wearing what's becoming my traditional garb.
Right? The poncho of shame.
Yeah. You know, honestly, like I don't feel too much shame. Like Trevor Lawrence looked great last week. It's funny. I didn't change my my team name in Top Gun because it's based on Trevor Lawrence and Bijan, and I was hoping to get him back. Honestly, I didn't think that. I was like, I'll be able to pick him up before if I see signs of him turning it around. But Steve picked him up right away.
Yeah.
He didn't even last a week on the waiver wire. Steve picked him right away. I was like, damn it. But yeah, he's starting to look really good. I think he's going to have a really good finish. But yeah, he did not protect me from getting pie in the face.
He's no CJ Stroud. I'm just saying. Stroud's on fire.
Honestly, in Dynasty, I would still take Lawrence.
In Dynasty?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that surprises me because I'd take CJ by a lot.
I know. I get that. It's because he's 21 versus Lawrence is 25. 24, 25. Like it's not a big deal. We're talking almost 15 years for probably both of them. So in Dynasty, like you not even worried about that. For quarterbacks, you're talking like 3 to 5. You know. Like we look in Dynasty for like 2-year windows, but like in quarterbacks it's a little bit longer than that because you can do a reset around your quarterback. So you want them to be able to, someone you can count on. Like around 30 is probably like that's the last time you can like reset with that quarterback probably. But Lawrence can run, and being 6'6", he's a Terminator out there. And I understand like CJ is off to such a hot start.
I think greatest rookie start of all time, pretty much.
He's awesome, and I love C.J. Stroud. You know that.
Yep.
But I don't think that he has quite the ceiling that Trevor Lawrence does. And the reason I think that we're just not seeing that right now is because they just kind of like scored a lot of rushing touchdowns. That's just kind of the way that it's kind of happened. Like, it's funny because people are real quick to be hedgy about ETN because a lot of his production has been touchdowns. But then we don't look at Trevor Lawrence and go, well, maybe if he had just gotten a few more of those ETN touchdowns, we'd be feeling differently about where he's at this season and like the trajectory of his career versus somebody like CJ Stroud. But I think when you look at the skill set, I probably still take Trevor Lawrence.
And just to put a cap on it, the way I see Lawrence is somebody over the next 10 years that's going to float in and out of the top 5 quarterbacks. And I see CJ as somebody who's firmly in the top 5 quarterbacks for the next 10 years. The guy has just completely impressed me. What he's doing as a rookie is just unbelievable. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, beyond all expectations by far. Mm-hmm. And if he just takes a small step forward next year, oh my God, so I'm in love with CJ Stroud, and I'll bet on him in just about any time.
So with that, let's get into our little Homer minute. Who wants to lead it off? Who had the most fun?
Let's see. Well, Steelers, we had an interesting week. It was nice. We lost our OC. We fired his ass, finally. So, yeah.
Addition by subtraction.
Yeah, exactly. We finally made over 400 yards. Our offense actually looked somewhat competent.
How many points did you score?
16, but it should have been at least another touchdown on top of that. I mean, we had one really bad pick in the red zone.
And also, I wanted to talk about the Deontay Johnson touchdown that wasn't a touchdown. That was a touchdown. Like they were. Who's the guy that they're on the on? They each broadcasting network has one former referee or official.
Right.
They talked to, so I'm not sure which one it was. 'Cause I'm sure it was CBS, but I don't know who they have. Anyway, he came on and he was like, "Yeah, he got 3 feet down, so so he shouldn't have had to complete the catch to the ground because he got 3 steps in. So the additional step is the football move or whatever, Right. So anyway, it should have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
So Deontay got robbed a little bit. And while they didn't score a bunch of points, I thought Kenny Pickett had a handful of throws that were just like, oh, he can do it. Mm-hmm. He can do it. There was he had a really nice seam over the middle to Freiermuth early in the game to pick up like a 3rd and 14 or something like that. That was really nice. And I was like, I didn't know the Steelers could do that. Yeah. And then he had a deep pass to Deontay where he just dropped it right in the basket. He had a deep pass to a couple of them to Pickens where he dropped it right in the basket. It was beautiful. It was like, wow, they might be able to score. And then Najee looks great to me.
Najee definitely looked good. Warren looked good. And then going into this week, it's nice because a lot of it I can be a little bit worried, like, okay, new OC, new system, caught a team by surprise, that kind of thing. Now once that there's film out there for the other coaches, now maybe they'll come back and maybe our new OC isn't all we thought. But this week we have the Cardinals, so I'm not worried about that. Not worried about that this week, and it gives us another week to kind of fine tune everything. Our running backs are going to go absolutely wild. I don't even know which one to start this week.
It's tough.
I would guess Najee, just because I think we're going to be in the lead.
He still gets the bulk of the work.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a fun week.
Also, Warren did get a little banged up. He had to leave for a second and get checked out for the concussion protocol. He got slammed on his head.
Yeah. He was okay.
And got up a little woozy, but he got up okay and he passed their their test. But you worry about stuff like that.
That's true.
So it wouldn't shock me if you had like a 25 touch Najee game and Warren was just a little
right.
like taking the week off because they should be able to. It's a smart move. I'm not ranking it that way because there hasn't been anything that's come out that suggests that Jalen Warren's not going to get his usual amount of work, and that usual amount of work should be pretty good based on what we saw from Ray's team last weekend.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think that game went a little as I expected it to. I didn't think
we both picked against that.
Yeah,
by the way, like we both picked the Cardinals. We thought the Rams were like they're just a little beat up, but Ray over here was like, you guys are stupid.
Only when it comes to the Rams, I think. But I mean, we all have our bias and stuff too. That's why we call it the Homer Minute, right? But I think we need obviously we need to win today, and I think if the Packers lose, we will solidify our seed. Not solidify, but we'll be out of the bubble.
If
I think that's the scenario.
I had more conviction about Kyron Williams coming back last week, and Cooper Kupp wasn't like just scaring the life out of me as far as like his future in football. I really wanted to say, like, we had talked about this earlier in the season. The Rams had flashed a little bit, like when they played against the 49ers. They gave the 49ers a really good game early in the season. I was like, it shouldn't surprise us that when, McVay has a team full of guys that he drafted, in his system, that they're able to produce points. And he had said going into the season that you think that their strategy, at least for the season, is going to be to try to outscore people. So, having all of their weapons, the Rams, and they're in position. They've already beaten the Seahawks twice.
Yep.
They've been getting some help from other teams. With the Seahawks now are 6-6, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's right in front of the Rams. They have a very good opportunity to get to the playoffs for sure.
I think they just have to win, and they're out of the bubble and in the top 7. And I don't know who the Vikings playing today. The Vikings are the other 6-6 team. Are they playing today? Or
No,
they
they're
got
off.
to bye?
Vikings are off. They're off. We're in the second bienado,
Right.
and so we're missing 6 teams this week. We're missing the Bills, the Vikings. Help me out. Continue.
Oh, I can't. Bills and Vikings are the two that like everybody has pieces of.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are just like, oh God, I can't remember the others. But
I know there's a few of them.
yeah.
The Giants are off today. Everybody's got pieces of the
Okay.
Giants. So yeah,
Barkley, anyway.
really missing the Giants today.
And I think we'll be able to beat the Browns today. I think they don't score that many points.
No, their offense is horrible, but that defense, man.
But dude, they got Joe Flacco.
No,
That did scare me a little bit. I was like, oh shoot, they're bringing in this former Super Bowl quarterback in here, and
nothing to be scared of.
But no, the Rams they looked they looked smooth last week, and Cooper Kupp should continue to get better. The deal with him apparently is that he's injured, but he can't make it worse by playing. So he's
okay.
going to continue to play through it. So when you see him off to the sideline and he's like getting treatment, his injury's not getting worse. They're just monitoring it and taking care of it more than likely. So until we get an update that changes that, I wouldn't really worry about it too much.
All right, that's
and
good
so
to know.
if you're starting some fringe guys over him, like for me personally, I have Cooper Kupp ranked 24, I think, this week. Let me double check that real quick.
what's that based off of? Because I mean, he hasn't had like a monster game, Cooper Kupp. So what do you base that off of? Do you base it off passing like last year too?
It is.
good talent.
He's not ranked 24 for results this season.
Gotcha.
It's definitely because he's Cooper Kupp, and he just 27 is where I have him. So right behind DK Metcalf, actually. Which
Genius.
was, you know what? Actually, it's I felt real bad about that, until I listened to Matthew Berry on Friday. And apparently, it was great because that was one of his things was he was telling everybody to sit Seattle players this week, and
Lockett didn't give me
and
that
so
much.
he put out a statement. What was it? Something to the effect of, my family and I appreciate your concern and hope that you can respect our privacy during this difficult time. Yeah, because it's such a bad call. So, I don't feel terrible. But guys, I would start over Cooper Kupp today are Jaden Reed, Christian Kirk, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Marquise Brown, guys like that. So that's the range where he's in to me.
I think for me, and I don't chime in on this too much, but if I had Kupp on my roster and I had other players that they're not bench players, I'd probably sit him. I'd sit him until he had one game of production.
I'm still playing Nakua over.
Yeah,
Kupp.
you gotta sit Kupp. To me, in my head, my strategy, which I'm not very good at this so far, I've shown.
That's not true. That's not true. He's had some injury problems this year, but his team is excellent. Like that's crazy.
Okay, thanks. But I think Kupp, you should sit him until he gives you one productive game, because my gut tells me he's in there as a decoy more than anything else to pull receivers.
No, I agree.
Coverage, yeah.
Right, that's what he can do right now because he's not 100% himself. But at some point, he's going to be close enough that he's doing Cooper Kupp things.
And he's still Cooper Kupp.
But we haven't seen
and so
it.
if you're starting 3 wide receivers, I mean, you're probably still starting him. I mean, it's not like you're sitting him. But if you've got 2 wide, if you're in a league, you're only starting 2, then maybe you can find a way
Exactly,
to sit Kupp.
and that's where he's, that's why he's at where he's at for me. Is like I know I could in a 2 receiver league, I should be able to find 2 receivers I would rather start.
I think he's number 4.
So To cap off our Homer minutes, we can talk about the Thursday night game.
Go ahead.
I thought my team was going to be cruising, and I almost
I
texted
didn't.
you when the Brandon Cooks touchdown happened and we went up 10. I almost texted you guys. Here we go. Like I guess it was about time for them to start to. They were just so unable to stop the Cowboys, unable to stop the Cowboys that. I thought they were going to start passing the ball. They're going to have to start passing the ball, and that the Cowboys were going to be able to get to them. But they had a really, really good plan to beat our secondary.
So
they had a really good plan.
Yeah.
So on that, I had as I was watching the game, I was editing our last podcast for the little drama that was created for that pick. Because I picked Seattle and we're back for you're like, that's not a stat. No. We were going back and forth a little bit. So I had to edit it. I had it all ready to go. I had SpongeBob's several days later. I had it all ready to go. And then I was going to put in the kneel down that Seahawks did and everything. And then I was going to publish it. And then they lost. I just deleted it.
All that work down the drain.
Take that. It's like, I'm going to bed.
So yeah, Deron Bland had the worst game of his life. His young NFL career. But it was good for him. Honestly, it was good for him because he's been getting a bunch of flowers, and it's good. It's good for young players to get humbled every once in a while. And later in the game, he made a great play.
I did. I saw that.
He made a great play.
Second half.
Another pick. Wasn't able to return it to the house, but it was a play that not a lot of cornerbacks make.
Yeah.
It was definitely so. I think he, if he hadn't made that play, you'd be questioning whether or not he was still an All-Pro this year. But he's probably going to get that All-Pro nod. Because I can't imagine he's going to play worse than he played last night. He'll go to the tape and they'll work it out. They'll figure out what happened. They'll play better. But yeah, kudos to the Seahawks. But the real test starts for the Cowboys next week when they get to play the Eagles.
There you go.
So that being said, I would suggest, because we kind of got a late start today, you guys. Apologize for that.
No, I apologize for that. That's
Thankfully there's
completely my
fewer
fault.
games.
So there are fewer games. However, it is already 8:35. So I'm going to throw out there that let's do the 10 o'clock games. That by then we'll probably do our 9 o'clock, right? And then maybe do our DraftKings, or let's do a
First,
hard
we gotta
DraftKings
do
at
something else
9:30.
first.
Okay.
There's one thing we got to do.
Oh,
first.
that's right.
Oh yeah. We were forgetting. No, we were.
So wait,
forget you,
explain
Ken.
the
Don't
bet.
worry.
Explain the bet of the week.
So, the bet of the week is we pick players against each other, and the player who performs the worst, or the person whose player performs the worst, gets pie in the face. Last week's bet was Trevor Lawrence versus C.J. Stroud, and that was why we had the conversation to start the show. As Brian's preparing the cherry pie today. We're having cherry pie today.
Yeah.
So this ought to be really, really, really good. Remember, try not to get it everywhere this time, Brian.
Well, that was the lemon meringue last time. That was just a little gooey and went everywhere. That was.
I had to buy another one of those too because it was
Tasted so good.
It was so good, and when I left with it last week, I got home and Roxana was like, "Hey, where did that lemon pie go?"
She didn't know what it was for.
No, she didn't know it was for me to take a pie in the face. And then I got the cherry pie and the lemon pie, and I was like, okay, so I figured you wanted the lemon pie, so I knew you'd be cool with eating the lemon pie, but you pick the pie that goes in my face, and the other one we'll eat. And she's like,
Let me get a piece of that.
she's like,
Smack it all over him.
I don't want you to have to take a cherry pie in your face. It's just gonna be so red. It's gonna be so. So this ought to be good. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not even. It's fun. Honestly, I like it. I enjoy it. Nobody likes losing, but the last couple of them have just been kind of whatever bets. Where it's like.
Whatever for you.
So what was the bet this week though?
It was C.J. Stroud versus Trevor Lawrence.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and we're talking about, and the bets are strictly fantasy points. Brian tried to get me on on game picks or something like that. But this is a fantasy football centric podcast. Okay, so you make fantasy football decisions, you stick to them, and you take the penalty when you make mistakes.
And here comes your third mistake in a row, sir.
I'm on fire.
You ready?
I was born that way. No.
All right. Enjoy, sir. That is way more than I thought. All right. The red looks good though.
I'm afraid to open my eyes. You got wall splatter?
You did. You got wall splatter.
I told him to be careful.
It's all right. It's cool.
It's not that bad. It was worth it. You look good.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay.
Let me see what little ones are.
Oh, you destroyed that pie. Yeah.
Yeah, that one collapsed really good.
It did. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I didn't expect the splatter on that one.
We're all good. It's all good.
It's pretty good. You know?
I wish I would have cut a piece of that out for myself first.
We need to start doing that first, huh?
Let me get a piece of that pie real quick before we slap it all over everybody.
All right. I'm going to clean up, and these guys are going to start talking about games.
All right.
Dun, 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 dun. So let's see here. First up,
Trevor Lawrence.
the Miami Dolphins versus the Washington Commanders. Miami Dolphins is at -8.5. The over/unders at 49.5. The money line is -425. The Commanders are at +330.
All right. This is going to be should be a blowout. I mean, Miami, they've got that offense putting up record points per play or something like that. I can't remember what the exact stat was, but they're doing some impressive things on offense. And that Washington secondary is doing some impressive things, but not in a good way. That Washington secondary is absolutely horrible.
They're giving up impressive amounts of fantasy points.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, Miami is absolutely going to roll here. You're starting your Miami players with glee, and Washington,
Including Devon Achane.
Yep. And honestly, Washington, I feel like that might be an interesting game, offensive performance as well. I would not be shying away from McLaurin. I would not be shying away from Curtis Samuel. I would be shying away from Dotson, however. And then Brian Robinson might be a mediocre
Logan
play
Thomas.
just because of gameplay. And yeah, Logan Thomas is another one that you
I
can
wouldn't want to play
absolutely
Brian Robinson because Gibson's back and you expect him to have to pass the ball a lot. And Gibson coming back, he just went right back to his pass usage. Like they're just, I don't know. That's just what they want to do.
Yeah, and Gibson has some talent. I mean,
it's not that I don't love Antonio Gibson. It's just that I think it's a poor strategy when you have two running backs and one of them's job is obviously to run the ball and the other one's job is obviously to catch the ball. It's like, this one's in the game, they're gonna run.
Yeah.
This one's in the game, they're gonna pass. And if they do pass, they're not passing to that one, so you don't have to cover him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you don't have to worry about him as much. And the numbers kind of bear that out when they're together. Gibson gets the pass work, and
I wouldn't worry about
Robinson
it,
gets
Brian.
none.
Don't worry about it yet.
I'm hoping that the Dolphins blow them out and that the Commanders have a very horrible day offensively. That would work out great for me. This is what we didn't actually. I want to finish off one thing real quick by talking about this game because my opponent has some Commander players, and he also has DK Metcalf. So I was one of those guys that had to go against DK Metcalf. So if you're out there, you're feeling bad, you're not alone. There's a lot of blood on Thursday.
Right.
Thankfully, I had CD. and the Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey. Anyway, I have
Good morning.
Just so people know, I have Devon Achane still ranked outside of my top 24 for running backs, just because you don't know exactly what's going to happen, like because of how cautious they obviously were with him coming back, and how easy it was for them to just go, okay, you just go sit over there, it's cool. And apparently, like he wanted to get back in the game. when he left the game against the Raiders. He wanted to get back in, and they just wouldn't let him. And then they gave him extra time off. So he should be good to go. He should be good to go. And I would expect him to touch the ball somewhere around 10 to 12 times.
Yeah.
And if he does, then you'll wish you have started him. is my expectation.
Good chance.
But because of what already happened, like I would be trying to start 2 other guys in 2 running back leagues, and definitely trying to try not to start him today. And then other than that,
and then Mostert you are starting.
Auto start Mostert. Yeah. Tyreek Hill is my wide receiver 1 on the week. And then Waddle makes my top 10 this week too.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
And then on the other side,
Commanders are going to have to kind of keep up a little bit for both those wide receivers to really produce, but I think that might happen.
Sam Howell is throwing the ball like 45 times a game, so I actually don't think it matters. While Dotson would be my 3rd favorite Commanders receiver to start, I think he's still somewhere around my number 30. No, actually, I don't have him in my top 36, so I still don't want to start Dotson. But Samuel and McLaurin, I'd like to start for sure.
I agree with that. All right, I will take Miami.
Oh yeah,
looks like we're all taking Miami on this one.
I don't think that's a question. I think you got to be nuts to take the Commanders.
You're a real homer.
Yeah.
Next up, Detroit Lions versus the New Orleans Saints. Detroit Lions -4. The over/under 47.5. -205 is the money line on the Lions. +170 for the Saints.
All right, and I like Detroit getting right here. Detroit's definitely been on a bit of a slide. New Orleans does have a nice defense, but there's something about New Orleans. They're
missing a bunch of pieces today, though.
Putting things together.
They're really banged up right now, New Orleans. So I actually do think that Detroit is not going to have a problem scoring. Chris Olave is going to play today, so I think the Saints are actually going to be able to fight back, and they'll be able to score as well, because that Lions secondary has been awful. Chris Olave had 7 for over 100 yards in the first half last week, so I think he'll score today.
Okay.
I have when I found out he was going to play, like he immediately made my top 12.
What was his injury, by the way?
Concussion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
you don't worry about that coming back from that so much.
Once he was practicing on Friday, I think I was like, okay, I think he's going to play. And that makes you feel good about Derek Carr. Derek Carr should have a better game today. To be honest with you, I think it was just probably because of what happened with Olave that they didn't score more points, but they were moving the ball in the first half, no problem. Things got bogged down in the second half, but I do expect the Saints to score some points today. So
offensive game happening here is what we're saying.
But with Olave out, I'm not starting A.T. Perry. I'm not doing that. Don't do that to yourself. But no Shaheed. There won't be any Shaheed today. I think.
And that's their field stretcher. That's a big deal.
Right. But Olave was doing it last week. That he it was like 7 for 115 or something like that in the first half, and he was getting chunk plays. So that was nice to see. Because Derek Carr hasn't been his normal accurate self on deep balls this year, but he looked better last week. So maybe his shoulder's feeling a little better. Which has been a big deal this year. That being said, I think I'm going to take the Lions.
Lions for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's Jared Goff on the road, but he's in a dome, and the Saints are missing. One of the pieces they're missing today is Pete Warner. And he's I think he's a second year. He's one of those hybrid like linebacker safety guys. He can play both positions. He's a little undersized for linebacker, but he's a little slow for safety. Gotcha. So he can get exposed sometimes in the pass game, but he's really good in coverage, like 15 yards and in. So I think that's going to hurt them today. And so I don't love Juwan Johnson. But
dude, I totally forgot. Yeah, I definitely want to talk to Juwan in this.
But I don't love Juwan Johnson. But what was nice to see was Taysom Hill had a deep ball last week too. He caught like a 35-yard pass, and it was a great catch. Like he went up and high pointed the ball. I didn't know that was in his skill set. To be honest with you, it just solidifies even further that he is the greatest living football player. He really is. He's the best football player on the planet. He can do it all. Like he can do it all. He can block a 300-pound dude. He can throw a 45-yard dime. Like he can run. He can take off around the edge for 75 yards.
Yeah.
Like he can go up and high point the ball over a defender 35 yards down the field.
But he is not their pass catching tight end. You know what I mean? Juwan Johnson is.
No, I agree.
And he's been getting work. And they, like I said, they're
I agree with
a
that.
weapon or two.
But
I see Juwan having a decent day.
I'm not sure exactly where the Lions rank against tight ends right now, but I don't feel like that's where they've been getting beat. I feel like they've been getting beat by receivers down the field. So that's why I think
that's what I was looking up. Juwan, they are 20th against the tight end.
Okay.
So they are back half, but not horrible.
Yeah.
But I think Juwan Johnson is going to have some definite opportunities this week, and he's actually somebody that I actively found off the waiver wire this week to start in a couple of leagues.
Okay.
Spoiler alert: I'm throwing him in DraftKings because he's cheap, and I think he's going to get a lot of work for the price he is. Juwan is one of those like sleeper types for me this week. I think he's going to have a good week.
Oh, Ezekiel Elliott got picked up.
Yep.
I think he should have.
The tight end start. I mean, if you're gonna pick somebody up, I would much rather pick up Brevin Jordan off the waiver wire this week.
See, I like, and Brevin Jordan is definitely somebody that's in my pool, but I'd much rather have Juwan Johnson.
Nah.
Juwan Johnson's proven it.
Let's put that on the maybe for pies.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
On the maybe, because I'm rooting for both. So
I'm no doubt about it. I'd take Brevin Jordan over Juwan Johnson, no doubt.
Well,
Are you no doubt you take Juwan Johnson over Brevin Jordan?
Again, spoiler alert: I have Brevin Jordan in my lineup as well. So
You have Juwan Johnson and Brevin Jordan in your DFS lineup.
You'll see it later. Hold on.
Can we just do the pie on the DFS lineup this week?
Look at the DFS scores.
I know.
Do that?
Hey, what? Yeah, I'm heating up, so we're good.
All right.
Are we getting a pie in the face on the DFS lineup next week?
It might be
hope.
that. Like if he's got Juwan Johnson and Brevin Jordan in his DFS lineup, I think that's where I want it to be.
Well, my
Because for the same
lineup.
amount of money, in one of those spots he could have played Devontae Parker.
That's not my cash lineup, by the way. That's my tournament.
Yeah, still in one of those spots you should have been playing Devontae Parker.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah,
please.
we're gonna get there. The Chargers' pass defense is awful. What's coming up right now? Actually, segue.
Right. I'll take Detroit.
We're
all taking Detroit on that one. Next up,
we have the LA Chargers versus the New England Patriots. Chargers are -4.5. The over/under's at 39. Money line's -225 if you're betting on the Chargers, +185 if you're betting on the Patriots.
The Patriots are just an absolute hot mess right now. Like it feels. Here's my little theory. I think that Belichick has packed it in for the year, and that like as far as look, okay, he's not making the playoffs.
somebody said that there was a Patriots fan that I listened to that said he was pretty sure that he told what's their name, Ryland, to go out there and miss the kick.
and it does. It feels like they're tanking, and it feels like
That would be the smart move.
right.
And to
he's
me,
doing
it's
it in an experimental kind of way. Like he's throwing stuff out there. He's throwing Zappy out there to see what he does, see what he has.
And you know what's interesting?
You know what I mean?
Is
He's doing it in an experimental way, and it seems obvious that he's tanking to me.
and it's funny because like the Patriots, what's the best draft pick they've had in the Belichick era?
Oh God, yeah. Who knows?
No, I mean
Not great.
no. I don't. Oh, they have I mean,
Right.
they're
They're
in the
always-
Belichick era, they drafted Tom Brady. So no, but no, and I'm not, and I didn't mean like their draft picks because they're excellent at drafting. They're excellent drafters.
No. How
How
high?
high?
Up?
Yes.
Yeah.
How high up has their draft pick been in the Belichick era? I don't think they've picked in the top 10.
Yeah, probably not top 15. Yeah.
And so, and when you like, let's think about it from that perspective. When everybody wants to dump on Belichick and say that it's over, it's like, well, give him a chance to play with some top 10 dudes and see what he can do, because he's always picking like 20, 25. And it's like, someone would go like, well, Mike Tomlin's picking 15 and 27. But they're finishing 9-8 all the time and 10-7.
Not this year. What's our question, Ray?
Who would be better to start this week, Pickett or Minshew?
Oh, that's not a place where you want to be, brother.
Right.
But I like Pickett better.
Do you?
Because I like what
Who's
I saw.
Minshew playing again?
Huh?
Minshew, who's their matchup?
Minshew's playing against the Titans, so but they're at the Titans, and Minshew's an awful quarterback.
Yep.
He is an awful quarterback.
He's a decent backup. That's what he is.
He's got I like Minshew's weapons better, not as much because they're going to be minus Jonathan Taylor now. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I would rather start Pickett at home against the Cardinals.
I'd say that's a really close one. And what I'd say against Pickett is that I think those running backs are going to go off this week.
I think he's going to get a touchdown pass through one of them, though.
You think so?
I do.
Yeah, and what there's going to be some points scored on the Steelers side, which I think we can all agree on. So that's why you're taking Pickett there,
and he's going to turn the ball over less. That's the other thing.
That's for sure.
That's the thing that I'm most worried about. Is Minshew is he's reckless with the football, and he's an errant passer.
Yeah,
Kenny Pickett does not put the ball in danger very often.
No,
and for him, and I think one of the knocks on him coming in was that he had small hands or something like that.
Oh, something, yeah.
He holds onto the ball really well.
He
he takes hits really well. He'll take a hit that he didn't see coming and not drop the football. And then you see other guys I saw Jake Browning step up and into pressure he saw coming and still drop the football when he got hit. So anyway, and Minshew I don't like what I see. I don't like what I see.
I agree with that. I want to look up what Minshew's stats were.
Neither of them
The one
are-
thing about Minshew is he does run, and so I want to see what his baseline is here.
He can pick up a rushing touchdown. I agree. But what people say about Kenny Pickett is that they wish that he would run more because he can. Kenny Pickett can move.
Yeah, that you have a tough decision there, sir. One
And
I
neither
would
of them
want
are
to have. Neither are great. As the Steeler fan, honestly, I think I'd probably start Minshew by a little bit, and that's
Interesting.
mostly because I really expect our running backs to get a lot of the yardage today. So, yeah, that's a tough one. Sorry, we couldn't help you out a little bit more, but one of us says one and the other says the other.
Man, I wish we knew some waiver wire options for you and actually, you know what? I'll tell you what. I've got my quarterback rankings here.
I'm sorry, we helped out Juan the other week. Remember when we went into the waiver pool
This
for
is a
him?
Juan question.
Oh, dude,
It is Juan?
Juan. Why
Oh.
did you not tell us you had Rashee Rice
Thank
on
you.
your bench?
Oh my god. These questions there's got to be context sometimes because that's the second time in a row where I felt bad for telling somebody to start somebody, and then I went and looked at their bench. And goes, why didn't I know that guy was on their team?
Right.
You should have started that guy.
Yes. Yeah. After the show, I looked at that and was like, Rashee, why didn't you start Rice? That's a way better option than what we were talking about.
This is for
Yeah,
Juan.
well, a lot of
Juan
times-
does not have better options.
Yeah.
there,
Okay.
there are not. Actually, our team is our league is extremely dry
Yes.
at quarterback. After his next best option would be Joe Flacco.
Don't
Geno
do that.
Smith is sitting on the waiver wire, but nobody was and he was in that range of quarterbacks until he did what he did on Thursday.
There's a lot of times.
Sorry,
where-
Juan, but that's a rough decision. Fortunately for you, I don't think you have to win this week.
I think a lot of times, and it should be okay that the viewers have narrowed down all their gut instincts on their players, and here's what they've narrowed it down to: these two people, right? So I mean, even having the context to it, they've already probably dismissed those players for one reason or the other. Like they have their vibe on this player or that player, and so they're like, all right, here's the last two.
Yeah.
Here's my gut says is one of these two.
No,
guys.
I
You're completely
agree with
right.
that.
So next up we have we didn't pick this, but we're all going Chargers, right? Did we? Is that the game we were talking about?
No, we hadn't charged.
I heard one of you guys talk about Belichick and being out on
We skipped a
Belichick.
game, or not? We didn't skip it. We didn't really skip a game. We just started talking about the Steelers.
Okay, all right. So next up is Chargers versus the Patriots. Chargers minus 4.5. The over/under is 39. Money line's minus 225 on the Chargers and plus 185 for the Patriots.
Yeah, I know we started talking about this game a little bit. I know that I said that the Patriots Giants game was actually one of my favorite games to rewatch this last week. We were talking about Belichick tanking and stuff like that. So, I actually think there's some interesting pieces on that Patriots offense. Like Devontae Parker looked really good last week. He took a wide receiver screen and went like 25 yards, and I didn't know he was that fast. He looks really, really, really good right now. So I'm excited to start him in a bunch of places where I needed to pick up a guy. And in spoiler alert, DraftKings, where he's $3,300 this week. And that Chargers defense has just been falling apart. They've just been
That's the truth.
they've been giving it up every which way. I actually kind of want to take the Patriots at home today. I think that their biggest problem was Mac Jones, and that he just the Patriots can move the ball. They have pieces to move the ball. Like Zeke looks good, Ramondre looks good. They're able to protect Mac Jones, and then he just does something stupid. Like one of his interceptions was a spectacular catch, but it was a bad pass. It was a bad pass, bad decision. It was the guy was double covered, and then the third guy behind him made the interception. It was just a bad decision. Then he had another interception later where it's just like, dude, what did you see? The guy was covered, and he missed the linebacker in the middle that was just sitting down in a zone and threw it right to the linebacker. And just these things that you just like, man, like even when a rookie does that these days, you're like, oh God, I got to sit him. He's not ready. And also just like when he was running to when he tackled the guy who made the interception on the run back, and afterwards he just like his head's just on sunken and just like, oh dude, he's just defeated. Like you got to get that kid out of there. He's just like there's no telling everything that's going on in his mind, but he's just not in football shape. That's for sure.
Well,
so
he hasn't had the best backup either.
I actually,
Well, just he's not supported either. You know what I mean? He's in a rough spot. He's on an island, man.
I mean, you're talking about Mac Jones?
Yeah.
I disagree with that, dude. To be honest with you, like he's got some veterans in that offense with Hunter Henry and Juju Smith-Schuster and Devontae Parker. And Devontae Parker.
I'm talking mental support. Like
mental support. No, the Patriots. The Patriots are the organization that facilitated Aaron Hernandez. So no, he's probably not receiving very, very much support.
I'm just when you're talking about him dejected on the sidelines and stuff, I'm just like,
not even on the sideline. This was on the field. This was on the field.
Yeah.
So he didn't even hold it together on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. It wasn't like pounding the grass mat. It was just like,
oh no, yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, and I'm just saying he's been put in a bad spot.
So, I'm thinking maybe that Patriots offense can, and especially with their matchup today with the Chargers, I'm thinking the Patriots can play a little better. And I'd
start Stevenson.
I am gonna pick them to win.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
That's how much.
Can
That's
that be our pie bet?
that's yeah, no. There you go again, trying to make it a game instead of
I'm
fantasy
just
football.
saying,
See how
man.
you are. And I mean, and on that note, I mean, do you want to look at the game scores for the season? Do you really want to make that the pie bet?
We'll talk about the game scores later, but I'm with you, Brian. I think that they should be on the table. I'm over here not taking pies in the face, though.
Right.
So, but I think they should. Since we're in here talking about it, I think they should be on the table. So,
I don't like it because it's like while fantasy football is kind of random, the most random thing about it is touchdowns. There are things that can happen in games to dramatically alter what you thought was going to happen in the game, like Joe Burrow getting injured. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, for someone to take a pie on the face because somebody got injured, like that feels kind of bad.
And just to put a tie on it here, I'm starting Stevenson, not really anybody else from New England. And on the other side, I'm starting Allen, of course. I'm starting Herbert, of course. Eckler, weird to say, but yes, you're probably
he's
starting
in my
him,
top
but
24. But guys that I would rather
Yeah.
start, but I would rather start Stevenson. I have Devin Singletary higher. I have Isaiah Pacheco higher. I have Brian Robinson higher this week. And I mean that's even in a bad matchup for Brian Robinson. I have him higher just because of like how he's been with his usage, and I do expect the Commanders to be able to score against the Dolphins. Whereas I don't know if the Chargers are actually going to be able to score based on how they've been playing against the Patriots. The Patriots defense is actually really good.
yeah, it's definitely something I'm worried about there. So.
And then
But I will
also
switch to
Keenan Allen has been hurt this week. He missed more than his usual amount of days of practice. He usually doesn't practice on Wednesday, but I don't think he practiced until Friday this week.
Yeah, he's banged up.
And I think we
I'll
got
take the Chargers.
we got everything in there.
yeah, you got.
I'm gonna lone wolf on the Patriots.
Maybe this will be your week to lone wolf on the Patriots. We'll see. Next up, Arizona Cardinals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cardinals plus 6.5. Over under is 41. Money line is plus 235 on the Cardinals and minus 290 on the Steelers.
We talked about this game a lot actually already. We've talked about it from the Steelers side a lot already. On the Cardinals side, they're not going to have Michael Wilson.
Oh, what do we got?
What do we got for a flex here? Dortch, Noah Brown, or Justin Watson?
I think I would lean Dortch for the reason I was just saying, and that's that they'll have no Michael Wilson today.
Yeah.
He's been pretty good in games without either Michael Wilson or Marquise Brown.
Yeah, I like Noah Brown if one of those other receivers aren't
They're all playing, though.
but everyone's playing,
Yeah.
so you can't really. Yeah, so yeah, I completely agree. All right, hope that helps. Dortch it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game it's so Cardinals side. I mean, you're starting Kyler because he's
I am
just
going
that
to
little
start.
badass.
So Kyler, I still have as a borderline top 10. I actually, because he's Kyler, I still have him ranked 6. Like I would still rather, I would rather play Kyler than Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert, Sam Howell. I have those are the guys I have, and I have him ranked right behind Patrick Mahomes just because of like what he can do, and like I expect him to have like the Steelers are going to be able to score, so he's going to have to try and put up points. And he had like whether it's looked great or not, he has produced for fantasy since he's gotten back. I will say this though, I'm going to go against my own rankings, and I'm going to start Russell Wilson today over Kyler because I think he is, while Kyler has a much higher ceiling, like he has a lower floor, and the Texans have been giving it up, and Russell Wilson has been playing great football. So just put that out there real quick, but. And also, when I did these rankings before they announced that Michael Wilson was going to be out, so I would probably drop Kyler below those guys that I just said.
Gotcha.
He would probably still come in right above C.J. Stroud for me because C.J. Stroud's going against the Denver defense today, and they've been playing great.
So Hollywood Brown, you're starting.
Not
as
excited
well.
about that.
But he's going to make your lineup. But yeah, I can see how you're not excited about it.
Excited about McBride though. Trey McBride,
Trey McBride hurt.
Not worried about it because like Trey McBride missed a practice, but he didn't miss any portion of the game last week, and the Cardinals released Zach Ertz.
No, that's telling for sure.
Yeah, so not worried about Trey McBride's injury because I mean, first of all, he's a Goliath, and Goliaths don't really get injured. So, but also he practiced at the end of the week, so I'm sure he's fine. He's ready to go. Just really excited for what his ceiling actually could be because I think we're gonna like as Kyler gets more healthy, we're gonna start to see that. Today is a rough matchup. And I actually have him and Freiermuth back to back in my rankings, and I have Freiermuth at 5 and McBride at 6.
Okay.
And then not excited to start James Conner. For me, I think he's a borderline top 24.
Start him if you have to, but that's not somebody I'm wanting to start.
I have Conner at 19, but he is the very first running back where I'm like I feel like I have to. I'm not excited about it. Like guy is right next to him. Like he's behind Jahmyr Gibbs, who's in a kind of a tough matchup today, and he's right in front of Austin Eckler and Javonte Williams, Jerome Ford, DeAndre Swift. And I mean, tell me which one of those guys you're super excited about starting today.
Right.
So that's where we're at on James Conner, and I think we're all picking the Steelers at home. Right?
I know I am.
Yeah.
It is a little past 9 o'clock. I did not get my usual email for some reason, so it's not as easy here. What I'm doing is I'm looking at the headlines on ESPN just to make sure that there's nothing crazy going on as far as in and out. Olave is in. I think we knew that. Allen is going to play. I think we knew that. Flacco starting, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there wasn't
expecting to play.
There weren't a whole lot of like game time decisions
I
that
agree.
we were really that worried about. A lot of that stuff got answered on Saturday morning.
Yeah, so I don't really. In looking through the headlines, I don't see anything that we need to be worried about. Hopefully, we're not missing anything small, but that should be good. We should talk about the weather a little bit.
That's a good point. Yes,
there is going to be a lot of weather this weekend. So
there's going to be weather.
Yeah, if you're not in a dome game,
temperatures are going to change.
And if you're not on the West Coast, you're definitely.
Well, I think that's that southern
rain.
thing for like saying like it's a storm's coming and it's going to rain. It looks like there's going to be weather.
I didn't know that. No. I thought you were being.
No. I was not being facetious. I was. No.
I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
I was being cultured. Actually,
there's going to be a lot of rain in the games today. But remember, the big thing is the wind. Not necessarily the rain. That's what affects your
Unless
stats.
it's super cold like it's going to be in Green Bay tonight.
That's fair. So I'm looking. Chargers Patriots has got rain and 11-mile-an-hour winds, 100% rain. So that might be a factor there.
How's
pretty
Philly
much the
tonight?
same with Jets and Falcons.
Tell us about Philly tonight.
And
nobody was excited about Jets Falcons anyway.
Oh, Arizona Pittsburgh is no problem. Nice, just possible fog. That's interesting.
Ooh.
Same with Miami Washington.
Kyler Murray's already hard to see.
Let's see. No, that's not where.
Maybe I should start Kyler Murray. If there's fog in Pittsburgh, I want to start Kyler Murray.
Tiny little sucker.
He'll have 2 rushing touchdowns today.
He was getting kind of beat up last week. He almost got taken out, it looked like.
Packers Chiefs in Green Bay. Possible chance of snow. 15%.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like
that's it.
It's supposed to be in the 30s at the time the game starts.
Yeah.
With rain. So and then how about Philly and San Francisco?
Chance of rain showers 25%. No wind to speak of.
What's the temperature of that game?
51.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah,
it should be much like it was last week.
Yeah.
For the Buffalo game, which might have been the game of the year.
It's gonna be a fun game there. Too.
On that note, like the NFL's really heating up right now.
Oh yeah,
that's great.
Playoff time.
And just real quick. Yes, we're coming up on playoff time. The games are important. The players are in like their like peak form, you know. And to me, this is why preseason's so important. So we could have had peak form like 5 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? Because it just really feels like there's a lot of teams that are just kind of priming now, which is good for them. It is. It's good. And it's smart as far as like competing for the Super Bowl. But like we got to do something because it's like we can't have like 12 weeks of okay, now you know we're playing football, but you know it doesn't really count yet, and not everybody's here yet. We're still kind of it's like the party hasn't exactly started. Like party starts at 8, but it doesn't really start until 12. You know what I mean?
So this is a roundabout old man argument about they should be hitting each other in pads and do all the preseason and screw their bodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy, you know what? You know what? Yeah. Hold on, real quick.
Oh, I set him off.
Did anybody watch the Bye Bye Barry?
Yes,
You did?
I did.
How many games did Barry Sanders miss in his career?
I have no
2.
idea.
I don't actually. I'm not sure he missed 2 games. I'm not sure he actually missed 2 games. And he played the hardest position there is to play in football at a time where guys were allowed to still fucking hit you out of bounds and like horse collar tackle you. If as long as they weren't like literally putting you in a chokehold as they were tackling you, it was still basically legal.
Okay.
And he he did it with terrible equipment on horrible surfaces like that. The Silver Dome. The Silver Dome was awful. And like, miss me with that, kids. Like the reason that they're so injured all the time is because they don't hit each other ever. They don't have any calluses. They're not used to it. They get owies and they don't know what they can actually play through. It's like, oh, my body's not perfect anymore. It's like, yeah, you're playing football, stupid.
So I set Ken up a little bit there. If you haven't heard Ken rant about that, you have now.
I'm very on the Brady
passionate.
side. That there's a lot of mediocre football going on today, and football is just not as good as it used to be. And like I have lots of random conversations with people each week because of what I do, and I'm usually wearing one of my jerseys while I'm working, so it brings up a lot of sports conversations. And I've never met somebody who's like, nah, man, I would much rather prefer watching football today than in 1998. Never. That never happens.
I'll volunteer right there. The product today.
I disagree.
Is much better than
I
it was
disagree.
25 years ago.
I
That's a whole nother discussion, but I like the
disagree,
product today.
Because I mean, like,
I wish they would do more of that next gen stat stuff. I wish other networks
they need to
would
go
grab that.
backwards.
I do love that.
They need to go backwards and do some of that stuff on those guys too, because like there was like some really special football players that you could easily just there's plenty of guys in every generation that it doesn't matter what generation you put them in, they would have been stars. And so for me, it's not necessarily about like I don't to be honest with you, like I don't really get that excited when I see like big pass plays and stuff like that. It's not really that big of a deal to me. Like in fantasy football, it's fun. It's like that's exciting for fantasy football. Mm-hmm. But as far as like real football is concerned, like I told you, I just said this earlier, like one of the most entertaining games of the weekend that I rewatched was the Giants-Patriots game.
Right.
A game that ended 10-7 because there were a lot of good football plays in that game. Like guys making good blocks, guys making good tackles. Like it comes to mind. It's like I was saying how good I thought Ezekiel Elliott looked. Like there was a play where like 9 times out of 10, most guys miss him on this play. He's going around the edge and he gets hit by Thibodeau, the young defensive end for the Giants, who I think is just awesome. And he goes down, and it was a fantastic play on both sides. Like it was a great move by Elliott and to see him and to make a move in the backfield, and it was a great play by Thibodeau to be in the backfield and then dive at Ezekiel Elliott, and so I enjoy stuff like that. I enjoy actual football. I enjoy good tackles. Like
Big plays are part of football too.
They are, and they happened back then too. Like I remember very vividly the game where Randy Moss had 3 catches, 150 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You know, and I watched Jerry Rice for the second half of his career. I watched Barry Sanders. I watched some of the best football players that have ever lived, and they did it at a time where the rules didn't protect guys the way that they protect them now, and also the game didn't get stopped so much for commercials. Like honestly, I cringe when there is a random timeout. Like you're watching a drive, and like a team just randomly they didn't get the play in fast enough and they have to call a timeout. Here comes commercial. You know it's coming. And that's part of it. Part of the enjoyability of watching the game is the getting to watch the actual game. Like, to be flat out honest with you, I would rather go watch the high school football game on Friday night than sit at home and just watch the television screen for one game. I can't do it anymore. I cannot just watch one game anymore because it cuts so many times to other things, and it is so hard to actually like follow all the things that I want to follow. Like sorry for this long rant, but in the entertainment industry, then you know this, like they're trying to like move your attention span. They're trying to keep you from being able to be focused on things. They're trying to continually like move things to keep your entertainment level up. So, but for me, when I'm watching football, like I'm watching the guy that's hobbling off after a play. I'm watching the guy. I'm like, yeah, I used to be able to see a lot more of this when you would watch in the 90s, and they were just on the game all the time, and they'd pan to the sidelines, and you'd see what's going on with guys on the sidelines. And it's like now you'll get like, oh, he's in the tent. We'll hear about it later, but we've got these commercials to show you right now.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that. It's not just the game. It's
that feels a rant on society, not just football. But let's move on.
Well, I will say this real quick.
Okay.
Since you went on that whole little tirade, this little 2-bit. YouTube TV has made it where you can watch 4 games at once and flip to the one that's not on commercial break. So there's that.
But they time up really well. If you've noticed that. They're really
Usually
good.
There's always at least one though. If you're watching a 4-game,
it feels like there's one.
You can flip to the one that's all going. The other thing I would say about that is, I just started watching a lot of games on mute. I just mute it and I just watch the game without sound. A lot of the times I'll do that. If it's just one game I'm watching and not where I can switch.
And you know what's funny is I'm
I'll
actually kind of the opposite, where I'll I will listen to it rather than watch it. Because I'd almost rather listen to like a radio play-by-play than watch the stupid commercials and them focus on the stupid things that they focus on and like all the random statistics that they pull up, you know. And that's a thing. Like the statistics have just gotten really out of hand. Like
I like them.
I don't like. I mean, I like it. I like important statistics.
Yeah, I like them, but when they start getting ridiculous, they're like, okay, that cool stat, bro, but that doesn't matter in any way
at all.
Why are you
at all. It's
random.
It's completely random. Put it in the Guinness. You know.
All righty. Next up, Colts versus Titans. What time is it? Okay, Colts minus 1.5. Over/under is at 42. Money line is minus 120 on the Colts and 100 on the Titans.
Interesting game here. Colts, Titans. Oh, God, Colts are coming on a little bit. They're starting to show signs of life. Titans look bad. They've got Henry. He's going to have a decent day today. I'm having trouble with this game. Help me out here. Like as a football game, this football game sounds horrible. But I start thinking about the fantasy pieces, and I'm like, well, there are some fantasy pieces here you want to be playing.
So this game is going to be horrible because on one side you've got Gardner Minshew. Just playing bad quarterback. Like I honestly don't know how the Colts are winning games, other than it seems like their opponent like plays down to them like week after week after week. Yeah. Like the Colts, I think they're like are they 5-6 or 6-5 right now?
6-5.
They're 6. Yeah. That is honestly just more unbelievable than the Steelers record. I swear it really is. Based on what I'm watching, it just feels like their opponents are finding a way to lose to them, like the Browns game, right?
Yeah.
And last week with the Bucks just kept like, who was it? Was it Devin White? Devin White just, man, he does not look right. He looked old and slow on that Gardner Minshew rushing touchdown. And there were a couple other plays, and they're getting hurt right now. The Buccaneers are just like, they're falling out. Like, they're missing Jamel Dean today. I think it's either White or David who's not going to play today. There was another piece that they're missing. So, and all that is to say that I think this is why the Colts won last week. And I don't think... I think they're going to hit a wall today. Okay. That's the way that I see it. I actually think the Titans are playing some solid football.
Really? Okay.
They're going to get Treylon Burks back today. They've been really cautious with him, and I like when teams do that with players, and they continue to win. You know, like it's like, okay, they believe in what they're doing. They have a good football team, and I think the Titans are a good football team. I think the Titans are of all the teams that we have going on right now, like they're playing worthy football.
I feel like they have pieces. I feel like they're well coached. But they're definitely on the downhill slide. I'm going to pick against them today.
I'm going to pick them at home today.
Okay, I'll take Indy.
And actually, because like I said, I think Minshew's playing awful quarterback, and I actually think that Levis is playing better than his fantasy numbers are showing. He played a really efficient game last week. I thought that the Titans knew exactly what they wanted to do, and it's very, very like Belichickian what they've got going on right now, where they'll just grind you out. And I think a few weeks ago they were selling some pieces off, but I think they were just like letting some of their younger talent come up. They have looked a lot better on defense lately. The numbers don't look good right now, but they're one of those teams that's playing better over like the last month.
So fantasy-wise, who are you starting on?
I love Hopkins.
Okay.
I love Hopkins today. You're going to start Derrick Henry. He's a top 10 start. Like, he scored 2 touchdowns last week, but hey, there's snow on the ground, so Derrick Henry could just start doing that every week.
But that's it off that side of the ball, right? I mean, is there anybody else?
It's like I said, Will Levis is starting to play good football. As Will Levis plays better, I like Chigakonkwo. He's somebody to watch. He's a freak. He's a freak athlete. Like, he reminds me of Vernon Davis.
So he's somebody should be on your radar, but not who you're playing this week.
No. I'm just saying. Just like, you asked me who I like. So I like who I like to start today. Just Hopkins and Henry, and that's it.
And then
on the other side, I love Downs. I love Pittman.
I really like Pittman this week.
Exactly, and we disagree. This is something we very much disagree on. Is Zach? I have Zach Moss in my top 5 today. So
you think Zach Moss is a premium play? You love Zach Moss.
Yeah, there's no way I'd sit him.
Whereas I think he's an okay play. Like, I don't hate him, but I think he's maybe top 16, top 18.
And
there's
he's
so many people I'd rather play.
And Brian's take here is, going to be you're like on an island. As far as like fantasy football, the world and projections and how they see what Zach Moss is going to do today.
No, I don't think so.
No, I do.
So you think everybody's saying that he's just top 5?
Top 10. I have him in my top 5. I have him in my top 5, but top 10, yes.
I'd have him like 16.
So here's my top 10. CMC, Bijan, Rashad White, Zach Moss, Kyron Williams, Etienne, Pollard, Breece Hall, Najee Harris, Raheem Mostert.
And I just started everybody else over Moss there.
Yeah. See,
yeah. And then going down the list, I would probably start a few more. Like I say, he'd be my next number 16, 17. Yeah, I still think he's startable.
And so for me,
still want to start him
so
this week.
he'd be your 16 or 17, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. At my 16, I have Jalen Warren, 15, Jalen Warren, 16, Alvin Kamara, 17, Ramondre Stevenson.
I'd start all 3 of those above. Yeah.
Pick one. Pick your favorite.
This is our bet.
Pick your favorite.
All right, hold on. Let me take a look at the list real quick. You go ahead. Let me take a look at the list, and I'll let you know.
I just gave you 3 names. I gave you 3 names to pick: Jalen Warren, Alvin Kamara, or Ramondre Stevenson.
Bezzy, I need you to win.
He's
this
going to take
week,
Kamara.
Bezzy.
It's either Kamara or Stevenson. I'm gonna take Kamara.
So I'm going to take Zach Moss, and he's going to take Alvin Kamara. That is a possible pie bet.
I like it.
What was the other one? Was Brevin Jordan and
I'd like to say I'm rooting for both those guys.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that one, but I do like Juwan Johnson this week.
Are we moving on?
Yeah, I think we're ready.
Yeah. Oh, I get another lone wolf there.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
So next up, we got Denver Broncos versus the
I'm gonna get another one right now.
Houston Texans. Denver Broncos plus 3.5. Over/under is 47. Plus 142 if you're betting on the Broncos. Minus 170 if you're betting on the Texans.
I'm betting on the Broncos, man. Hottest team in the league.
Yeah, this is a tough one to pick here. These are 2 hot, fun teams to watch that are really kind of coming into their own right now. And they're 2 teams you're excited to pick both sides. Like, I like both teams right now.
It's hard to pick. Yeah.
It's hard to pick. That's a toss up.
This
for me.
This is a great game. This is like a playoff game.
Yeah.
Like, people should be watching this game. This is going to be a good football game. Like, I know everybody's excited about the Niners and Eagles, but a lot of times something happens in these games and like they disappoint. The Bills and Eagles game did not disappoint last week, although the first half was ugly. The first half was like almost unwatchable. It was bad football.
Yeah.
This game right here, and it took me a while to settle on who I wanted, but I'm going with the Broncos, and the reason I'm going with the Broncos is because as great as CJ Stroud has been over the last couple weeks, he has started to turn the ball over. And he will continue to do that. He's not going to be afraid to throw the ball. He's going to continue to play how he plays. The Denver secondary is one of the best in the league. They're getting after the quarterback too. They're playing really good defense. I think the Broncos are going to make the playoffs. They get to play the Raiders twice still.
What's their record right now?
6-5.
6-5. Yeah. They've got a good shot.
Yeah.
And Houston does too. I think Houston can make the playoffs too.
I think I really like Houston.
I want to see it.
I don't think they're ready. I don't like. I
think you're right there.
It would be fun to watch. You know, what would be fun is if they made it and then played Jacksonville a third time. That would be fun because I think Stroud. I said this before last week. I think Stroud versus Lawrence is going to be our Manning versus Brady over the next 10 years. I can see it being. I'm excited to watch every one of those games. Every time those two guys get together, and it's funny because like we argued a little bit about this earlier about dynasty quarterbacks, and I said I'd take Trevor Lawrence over C.J. Stroud. They might be 1 and 2 for me.
Okay.
And it's just that's how much I like Trevor Lawrence.
Nice.
So it's not that I don't like CJ Stroud. That's just
I knew that.
That's how high I am on Trevor Lawrence. Like I like the pieces around him. I like his coaching staff. I think they're going to continue to do a good job of putting him in a position to win. And then Stroud just has those young, hot receivers. Man, he's got a squad around him already.
See, now, are those wide receivers that good, or is Stroud making them look good?
No, they're that good. I
actually
do think that they're that good. Yeah, like when you watch them, like Tank Dell does. It's funny
because these are no names.
This
coming
happens
in.
At least once a week, and I can't remember. I almost texted this when he did it this last week, but it almost once a week he has an almost catch. Where it's just like, man, if he was 5'11", like he would have caught that ball. Yeah. But he is such a great athlete. He has such a great sense for when to go up and get the ball. Not a whole lot of guys are really that good at just finding the ball. Like sometimes the ball just kind of finds them. Like Christian Watson's one of those guys where the ball just kind of hits him and you hope he catches it when it hits him, but he's not like making the great play. Like he'll go up and jump for a ball and then fall down before it gets there. Anyway, but yeah, no, and then when you watch Nico Collins, not only is he 6'4", 220, but he's fast.
Yeah.
He's a good route runner. A lot of his damage is being done over the middle. Like he's not just going up and winning like 50-50 balls. Like he's beating guys, with moves to the middle of the field and then running away from guys.
And then Noah Brown looks like a world beater when one of them goes out.
Hey,
so that's why
I'm
I'm like,
Noah Brown,
is it them or is it Stroud?
Noah Brown's my guy. I was really sad to see him go when the Cowboys lost him. He was with the Cowboys for 5 years, and he's the best blocking receiver in the league. Him and Juwan Jennings over in San Francisco are the best two blocking receivers in the league. And over the last couple years, he had really started to develop as a pass catcher to the point where the Cowboys would bring him in, and a couple times a game, he'd get a shot. But the Cowboys have been so talented at receiver that it was never going to happen for him there. But he was ready. When he left, he was ready, and I'm almost a little disappointed for him that he's now surrounded, by Dell, and the guys that can't even get on the field. They've got other rookies that can't even get on the field that people were excited about. They've got Xavier Hutchinson and Mechie.
I know. Mechie's been nothing.
Like they are loaded.
Yeah. What do we got?
So I got a question. I'm not sure exactly how I don't know what it means. Maybe you guys will. This question is coming from YouTube.
Hey,
Kyle, Primes
What's
Poachers
up, Kyle?
or Red Medic?
Oh God.
Wait, what was it?
It's my Dynasty league.
Oh.
Okay. So this is really. I was going to bring this up a little bit later, but in Dynasty League, hi Kyle, that I'm in with Kyle there. My opponent's name is Red Medic. This is our second matchup of the season. Okay. Earlier in the season, we made a trade for the Stephon Diggs trade for Garrett Wilson.
Oh, okay.
Early in the season, right? That's my opponent this week. I made that trade, and then I lost to him. And we didn't know we were playing each other, so people were joking like collusion, collusion, whatever.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
he was obviously going into a tanking mode, So, we're kind of doing it again because I wasn't really paying attention, and I was targeting Ramondre Stevenson as somebody to trade for right now as a running to bolster my running back room that I thought maybe I could get without having to break the bank, And it turns out Red Medic had that player, and we're playing this week. So
And you made a trade?
And we made it to trade. He's like, you know what? He's projected to lose by 35 at this point. And he's like, "There's no way I'm beating you. They're not going to care." And so we put the trade through, and then I put into the league chat. All right, guys, I want to play a game, and talked about that, and was like, okay, so I miraculously lost to him anyway in week 2. How's that going to happen again this week? I'm going to give a 4th round draft pick to the person with the most creative response, and I'm going to read it on the podcast. So while we finish up here, I'm gonna go to that right now, and I'm gonna look that up, and I will read that right now.
So are you going Texans or Broncos?
Yeah, this is it's a tough one. I'm gonna go ahead, since it's so tough. I'm gonna go ahead and go with my heart here. I'm really rooting for the Texans this year, so I'm gonna go ahead and choose them. And my head kind of says that it might be the Broncos here, but I'm gonna go with my heart and come on, CJ.
Actually, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
I'm picking Houston. And speaking of that, that's actually going to be my tournament lineup. Is going to be the Houston-Denver game, which I think we should get into the DraftKings since it's 9:35 right now, and we just finished all the morning games. We can get into the DraftKings and then start the afternoon games there.
Sounds good. Are you ready to do your quote there?
No, not yet. Let's keep going to games, and I'll interrupt us.
There's one thing I want to say though that we should do for next year, since it's fresh, this Pick'ems thing, we need to do this as we need to make the Pick'ems a Pick'ems game, sort of. There's Pick'em games you can go out there, and every week, there's people out there that can actually pick them. You know what I'm saying? You've never been in a Pick'em league?
Oh, just picking the winners?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
okay.
should do that next year. Absolutely do that.
I agree.
Pick them next year. That way that it's easier to track too. People who are playing along with us, they can just
program
join
will do
in
it.
and they can do their.
I
pick 'em.
play
So-
in a pick 8 league that has about 600 people, mostly in the
Yes.
casino industry. So yeah, something like that would have a lot of people interested. I like it.
So I think that, and then we need to start our DraftKings lineups. We just need to start doing a free game so we could throw our lineups in it,
Wait, what?
and it's easier to just track the points. If we did a free pick'em or a free DraftKings game, like create a lobby and do the classic game, and we just throw our lineups in there that we read off this year,
against
this
each
week.
other. I see what you're saying.
And then the viewers also can join that and put their lineups in there as well. So
Okay,
that
I like
being
that.
said, I'll go ahead and just start us off here with my lineup. Let me see here.
We're doing DraftKings now.
Yeah, we got to do DraftKings because it's already
Oh, before
9:30.
yeah. You're right.
So DraftKings, here we go. I'm starting Purdy, running back Singletary, Williams, K. Williams, wide receiver Ayuk, Atwell, Sutton, tight ends Higbee, with my flex Nakua, and the Rams on defense. I picked Rams because
I was going to say it's
Browns
heavy
don't score.
Rams team there. I like that.
I did go kind of heavy Rams, didn't I? All right. A lot of it was to save money because like Atwell's only 3,800 and Higbee's 37, and they could have an up game today.
Atwell was somebody I was thinking about if one of the other receivers sat, but since with everybody healthy, I was like, I can't do it. Brock Purdy, I absolutely love at quarterback.
Yeah, we're not live there. We're
Yes,
all got
at
Purdy.
6,100, how could you not? Zach Moss, I am actually taking. Again, like I said, I think he is a decent play this week. He's not a great play, but for 4,600,
Who you're playing?
for 4,600, like that, it's the free square this week. You have to take it. Jalen Warren, I've got for 5,400. Went back and forth whether that should be Najee or Jalen there, but I just Jalen's been averaging like an extra point or so. I just went that way. Ayuk is with my stack with Purdy there. Tyreek Hill, I think, is going to be amazing this week. Even at 9,600, I couldn't get away. Michael Pittman, I think, is going to have a lot of receptions this week. Gotta love that. Brevin Jordan, my tight end for 2,500. Stoneman.
That's a good one.
And then Curtis Samuel is actually a really good bargain this week at 4,100. I think he's going to have Washington's definitely going to be airing it out, so I think he's got a good shot at a big day. And then I was able to afford the Falcons defense, which kind of hurt me a little bit going against the Jets, but I mean they've got no quarterback, so yeah, how could you not? So that's my cash.
All right, so I guess that means it's my turn, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh boy, yeah. I'm like just find a way to beat you, man. Anyway,
I have been on a roll.
Yeah, we're not live on Purdy. I also have Zach Moss at 4,600. One of the three guys I have ranked in front of Zach Moss is Rashad White at 6,300. I have Brandon Ayuk at 7,200 at receiver. He's the receiver I'm going to pick to stack with Purdy. I have Tyreek Hill. You have to play Tyreek Hill at 9,600. Did he make your lineup?
Yeah.
Okay. Terry McLaurin to stack against Tyreek Hill at 5,500. My favorite tight end play of the week by far on DraftKings is David Njoku at 4,100. Amari Cooper's been banged up, and he's already just been getting work even with Cooper still on the field. Then my favorite dart throw of the week is Devontae Parker at 3,300 against that weak Chargers defense. Parker is going to now I will say this, he saw less targets once Zappy got onto the field. It was Mac Jones was just throwing Parker the ball, but Parker is definitely the best receiver on that team.
He only had five targets last week, but still.
I think they might have all come in the first half
Right.
too.
And if he gets two more targets, then he's got a really good chance of getting 10 points. So
And then
I
I was able to afford the Colts defense for 3,200. I like the Colts defense a lot. The Titans have just not, even in games that they're going to win, like they're going to try and grind you out. They're just not a team that's going to try and score 30 points. Yeah. So it should be a safe play today.
All right.
So I got a few questions lined up. Actually, we got a few of them. So Sutton or Damon Pierce?
Sutton.
All right, Amari Cooper or Brian Robinson as flex. This is for Top Gun.
Cooper.
Really? I think I'd go Robinson.
Oh there. Yeah, Flacco's going to throw the ball 45 times.
Yeah, see, I don't know what that's going to look like with Flacco.
I'll tell you, he could score 30 fantasy points, or he could score 5. He did that last year. He 52 pass attempts turned into 5.5 fantasy points.
I'm hoping for 5 fantasy points.
Right.
I kind of am too. I'm against him in a couple of spots.
I like Robinson there.
Okay, so this next question's a little bit of a curveball because of the way it was worded. All right, it's from Bryce Ridley on YouTube, who I believe might be a first time. I'm not
What's
sure.
Up, Bryce?
Do you know? Okay, so all right, fellas, who will be more ass this week, Thielen or Deontay PPR?
I would rather start Adam Thielen because the Buccaneers are so beat up, and because we don't expect the Steelers to need a whole lot of production out of their pass catchers today. That's where I would lean. We expect the Panthers to be behind, and we know they're going to throw the ball to Thielen, and we know that the Buccaneers defense is beat up.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly how I'd see it.
Me too. No,
there you go.
So
we were reading off of Ray script.
So Ken, go ahead with your or your tournament game.
Tournament lineup. Oh boy. All right, tournament lineup. Hold on. Okay, no, that's fine. I thought it was somebody else. At quarterback for $7,900. My quarterback won. Tua Tagovailoa.
Copying my stuff.
Yeah, that's what I do. At running back for $5,200. Najee Harris.
Are you just reading my lineup?
Did you just copy my lineup?
Here we go.
$6,700. I've got Bijan.
Okay.
And then just obviously to stack with Tua, I've got Tyreek Hill. We're going to do a double stack back against him with Terry McLaurin at $5,500 and then Curtis Samuel at $4,100. I was able to fit David Njoku into this lineup as well at $4,100. Flexing Devontae Parker because I just don't think there's a better dart throw today than Devontae Parker at $3,300. And then I get to play the Buccaneers defense at home against turnover prone Bryce Young.
All right.
Woo.
We have a lot in common here. We have like 5 overlapping, but we really differ in the other areas, so that's cool. I got Tua, I've got Hill, and I've got McLaurin, so that's my little stack for that game. I am playing Najee Harris. I went ahead and put Zach Moss in this one too because for $4,600, the chance of him getting 5 times that, even though he's going to be highly owned, it's going to be worthwhile there. Going my last wide receiver, I went with some power here. I went with A.J. Brown. I thought that might spice up my lineup a little bit.
That is spicy. You had to pay down for that.
In order to do that,
tell us about it.
In order to do that, I went with Juwan Johnson as my tight end because I really like him this week. We talked about that. And then in my flex at dead minimum is Brevin Jordan. So that's not something I normally do, but I've seen some very successful lineups do that.
What you doing?
And again, remember, like you're looking for 5 times the cost.
3 to 5. 3 to 5.
5 is what you're aiming. You want to make sure that the ability to get 5.
The ability to get 5, yes. But like 3 to 5, you want it 3 to 5, at least 3, because you figure like if you get 3x on your dollar spent, you 150 is the points you're going to score. So and somewhere between 150 and 200 points, and you should win your cash lineup. You're like 9 times out of 10.
This is tournament, which is why I was
I'm sorry. And then tournament lineups, so it's really,
You're looking for that big payday.
At above 150, you should get your money back.
Yeah.
So,
but you look at Brevin Jordan, 5 times his price, that's 12 points.
Right.
Very,
I agree.
doable.
I agree. I like him a lot.
And then Patriots are my defense. because they're cheap.
That's a good one. Actually, one of my favorite punts because, like I said, the Chargers offense is not playing well. Austin Eckler looks like he's 45 all of a sudden.
That is weird.
So, yeah.
What you got, Ray?
For the tournament lineup, I have C. Stroud at quarterback, Singletary running back, Jay Williams as running back, Collins for wide receiver, Dell for wide receiver, Sutton for wide receiver, tight end Higbee again. I'm hoping you're going to see a repeat of last week with him. And then Brown as my flex and punting away my Panthers defense.
And then we've got one more 10 o'clock game to get to, right?
Yeah, we do, actually. Yeah, I just noticed that, too.
All right. Yeah, we're going to have to fly through the games now.
So at 10 o'clock, we have Atlanta Falcons versus the New York Jets. Atlanta Falcons -2. The over-under is at 33. -125 if you're betting on the Falcons, and +105 if you're betting on the Jets.
Jets, my heart is still with you. I'm still rooting for you, but you're probably going to lose today.
We're against each other today.
Yeah,
All right.
I don't like this matchup. I want the Jets to win, but I don't think they will. I think it's going to get ugly. The quarterback situation.
So just based on the energy of what's going around the Jets, there's still a lot of hope.
I hear you. Yeah, and that's why I'm hoping for them, and that's why I'm hoping for them.
And their defense. So they don't have a bunch of injuries. It's really just been the quarterback that's been playing awful.
Absolutely.
The Falcons are a team that you can beat. I really think the Jets should win this game at home. Like, this is going to be not a fun game to watch, but it should be in the rain. It's in New York. Like, Ritter is just not a great quarterback. Mm-hmm. I expect the Jets defense to be able to pull this game out for them.
Yeah, it's going to be a 13-3 game, so yeah, who knows? But it seems like a game that Atlanta should win.
I agree that one of these teams will not score a touchdown today. It is one of those games.
That's very true.
I think that, like, if one team scores a touchdown, it'll only be one team that scores a touchdown today. Which is actually why, like, I was looking at stuff right now, and actually when I read off my tournament lineup, and I was like, Bijan at 67, and I actually just switched that real quick to Rashad White. Rashad White at 6,400. I'd much rather play Rashad White and his in a tournament lineup. So
who are we starting? I mean, you
got to start Garrett Wilson. You have to.
You got to start Garrett Wilson.
Start Breece Hall. Drake London.
God, in this matchup, I'd be trying.
Drake London is right at the edge for me. Like, I think I have him right. He's right behind Terry McLaurin, right in front of Cooper Kupp.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'd have him a little lower than that for sure. I just that secondary.
He's been going off.
Yeah,
Drake London's one of those dudes where it actually just if you give him the targets, if you just throw him the ball somewhere near him, he'll catch it.
But with sauce on him?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I love
like Ritter throwing to him,
dude. From last year's draft class, like, it's really hard for me. Actually, that's the best part about this game is these are my two favorite receivers from that draft class is Garrett Wilson and Drake London, and it's actually hard for me because, like, as much as Garrett Wilson has shown us already, like, Drake London's in a worse situation. Like, we know he's not getting the ball. Like, people are more clamoring for Kyle Pitts to get the ball than they are really about him. But when he gets a chance, like, he's got all the skills that you want. And Garrett Wilson is 6 foot, 190 pounds, which you can do it. Like, Stephon Diggs is exactly the same size, but those guys who, like, and there's not as many of them as it seems like there used to be, but those guys that are 6'2", 6'3", 215, 220 pounds, they can do anything. They can do whatever they want. Like, you're never going to take them out of a game. And so that's it's really hard for me to choose which one of those two guys I like better. I'm actually kind of hoping Drake London has a horrible end of the season so that I can get him.
There you
Dynasty, go. Because I want him.
And I do like the Dynasty take. I can see that in Dynasty. So you're taking the Jets. I've got Atlanta. Ray?
I'm taking the Atlanta. Falcons
Okay.
too. Next up, Carolina Panthers versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Panthers plus 3.5. Over-unders at 37. Money lines plus 145 if you're betting on the Panthers, and minus 175 if you're betting on the Bucs.
So Baker's a little beat up right now. He injured his ankle. I think it was his ankle on like a quarterback sneak.
Yeah. Well, he's been trying to do it all, so yeah.
He's a tough dude.
Yeah,
I
he
like
is.
Baker Mayfield a lot. But that would be the only thing that would, for me, that would give the Panthers a chance to win this game or even be anywhere close in this game, is that the Buccaneers defense is so beat up and Baker is kind of beat up too because Kyle Trask is not an NFL quarterback.
Okay. But you're definitely starting Evans. You're definitely starting Rashad White. Anybody else on that side of the ball?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And then Panthers side, we already talked about Thielen a little bit,
and that's
yeah,
that's all you. I guess you can start Chuba Hubbard because he's looked pretty good. Of those two running backs, he's looked better than Miles Sanders, and that could be because of Miles Sanders' injuries. I don't know, but Chuba Hubbard, he runs with some juice. Like, he's got some power. His touchdown run was really impressive last week. Actually, like, he shouldn't have scored on that play, but he did. But I wouldn't be. You could, but I wouldn't be excited. Like, there's worse things you could do than start Chuba Hubbard. But I think that's it.
Okay.
Picking the Bucks.
I'm taking the Bucks.
Oh, man. All right.
Now, the game of the week.
I'm taking the Panthers. Next up, the 49ers versus the Eagles. 49ers minus 3, over-unders at 47, minus 148 if you're betting on the Niners, and plus 124 if you're betting on the Eagles.
Did we get a question just now? Or?
Oh, yeah, we did, actually, from Darius Brown, and I think might be a new person from YouTube.
What's up, buddy?
Should I trade Jay Cook and Myers for Brees?
Yeah.
Wait.
Brees.
James
Jacoby
Cook?
Myers and James Cook. So it's really James Cook for Brees Hall.
Yeah.
So yes,
If you can get that done, for
do it.
sure.
Snap.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
49ers, Eagles.
Real quick, I wanted to do that. Give away my draft pick right now.
Oh, okay.
Give away a 4th rounder. Now, Kyle did a really, really awesome job of putting together a nice little pun, and I'm going to read that one too. But the winner, it was too funny. It actually made me laugh out loud when I read it last night. From D'Artagnan is his name in my Dynasty League. He goes, I'm going to read this verbatim. I mean, the easy answer is Flacco throws for 405 TDs. But the real answer is Robinson, my opponent has Brian Robinson. Robinson gets shot in the parking lot, goes to the hospital, checks himself out before halftime, comes in and runs for 200 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then let me read the pun from Kyle, who's a gifted writer. Made a big trade with his opponent this week. Got the matchup looking quite purty. However, would be a shame if you climbed all to the top of this hill and took a tumble. But let's not freak out yet. Let's. I mean, what are the chances something like that actually happens? Not likely, right? I have Isaiah Likely too. Just gotta play a clean game this week, and you're sure to avoid any Flacco from your league mates. You seem to be fielding a solid squad despite the buys, so we have faith in you. Now go be a bride and not a McBridesmaid.
That's pretty good.
Thanks, Kyle. That's awesome.
Well done, sir.
Yeah, and so on.
Yeah, we need to go quick here.
Energy.
Let's see. Philly, San Francisco, great game. Didn't know who to pick, so for me, it's the home team.
Don't worry about what the biggest thing is. Most websites will give you like a matchup rating. You know, like you get an indicator of how good or bad the matchup is. You know, like for instance in Sleeper, it color codes them, you know. So like if you've got a good matchup, they'll show up in green. Bad matchup show up in red. Don't worry about that this week. Don't worry about that. I actually don't think either of these teams are going to be able. It's going to be a lot like Thursday night with less penalties. Like it's not going to end up 41 to 35. It's going to end up more like 31 to 28, something like that. You know, 31-27, something like that. But it's. Going to be a great football game where I think you're going to be able to start all of your stud pieces on offense. And actually, can you check real quick? The one thing that I wanted to know about was Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert was practicing.
He was doubtful last I saw.
Right, but he was practicing. He's the only one, the only like game time decision question this week was Dallas Goedert. Sorry guys, I forgot about that. But I got to take the 49ers. Gotta.
I'm going to take Philly because they're at home.
Like Philly also. The other one is Fletcher Cox. I wanted to know, we should see if Fletcher Cox is going to play today. He was doubtful to play. Big. That's really big for the Eagles because if the Eagles are not actually able to stop the 49ers run game, then
still only a doubtful designation on Goddard.
Yeah, I don't.
Where are they playing at?
They're in Philly.
They're in Philly.
They're in Philly. It's just the 49ers are I feel like the 49ers are priming right now, whereas the Eagles are kind of like getting by the skin of their teeth.
I'll go with Niners. I'll give Brian his lone wolf game.
With the Eagles, that's
not
pretty
bad.
Good. Yeah, you get the lone wolf on a 10-1 team at home.
That's not bad. I'm sure they'll lose.
What could go wrong?
I got like Ayuk and stuff. I have Swift and whatnot too, but I don't know. Next up, we got the Browns versus the Rams. Browns are plus 3.5. Over unders 39.5. Plus 150 the money line on the Browns and minus 180 for the Rams.
I'll take the Rams. Don't start any Browns. Move on.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Matthew Stafford is going to have like a top 5 quarterback finish.
Wow, against that defense.
No, not just against the defense. I'm saying like the rest of the way.
Oh, I see.
I feel like if Matthew Stafford is available in your leagues and you're questionable at quarterback going into the playoffs, like you've been searching the waiver wire, doing the quarterback dance every week, just pick Stafford up and see what happens. I don't think that 4 touchdown game was a fluke last week, and he did it without throwing one to Puka or Cooper Kupp.
Yeah,
he's got all his weapons back. The team's going to start getting healthier. I actually think they're going to just start scoring a lot of points. So I like Stafford a lot.
All right.
I actually sat Purdy for Stafford this week.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
I did. We'll see what happens.
That's crazy. That you should not do that.
I did it.
You should not do that. You should undo that really fast. You have 3 hours. Undo it.
All right. Next game. We're all taking the Rams, right?
We're all taking the Rams.
Okay.
Yeah. We are all taking the Rams at home.
Next up is the Chiefs versus the Packers. Chiefs are minus 5, over unders 43, minus 238 if you're betting on the Chiefs, plus 195 for the Packers.
I kind of feel like the weather is going to ruin this game.
Think so.
I saw this game on the schedule and I was like, ooh, that's going to be a fun game. And then I saw the weather predictions for under 40 and snow, and it hasn't changed all week.
Well, the snow is 15%, so it might not. Well,
if the game starts at under 40 degrees at 7 o'clock local time, it's going to snow if it rains, because it's going to continue to get colder. They're gonna 37 at game time is going to be 29 by the time the game ends. So
what's the point spread on this one, Ray?
Minus 5.
Can we pull that up? Actually, can we get the where do they play at? Is it Green Bay? Actually, Green Bay, Wisconsin is the name of the city. Can we get the low today for Green Bay? Because I want to know what it's actually going to get down to. 33.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
That's there's going to be sleet. If it's raining, there's going to be physical stuff in the air, No, I'm not so much worried about Mahomes, but Jordan Love on the other side being able to actually keep up, so because we haven't seen him yet in how he plays in his Green Bay weather, and that's a big thing for these.
And don't forget Kansas City, that defense is good, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's been
their defense
very, very
is really
solid
good.
this year.
So as much as this Packer offense has been coming alive, they're not going to have Aaron Jones today. AJ Dillon has been beat up. And
chance of snow 70%,
and he's AJ Dillon. I told you,
dude. The site, I just looked up the site. It said 15, and I guess I was on a bad one. I don't know.
You were on a football website. it's football guys going. Yeah. So yeah, that's where I lean on this game is like, what's the over under?
43.
Under. I lean under on this game. I like Isaiah Pacheco a lot. The Chiefs have shown that they're willing to give him the ball on the ground 20 plus times a game already. So as much as we're all excited about the Rashee Rice breakout, I want him on my bench this week.
Right on.
You're not going to bench
Yeah,
actually it's funny in our league. There is the player who has Mahomes. I did hit him up this week and told him to bench Mahomes. I was like, if you want to win, you need to start because he's got Tua.
Oh, okay, yeah. I definitely start Tua.
Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't happen very often. Where it's like I would definitely start a guy over Mahomes because it's like even if a guy has a great matchup, it's like I'm not going to sit Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of silly.
But this year, Mahomes is a little different.
And the weather is awful.
Yep.
So
All right. I'll take the Chiefs.
I'll take the Chiefs too. If Aaron Jones is playing, I think I'd have taken the Packers. I like what's going on in Green Bay, dude.
I guess you do.
They've at the beginning of the year, they were missing 2/3 of their receiver core every single week. Like whether it was Dobbs and Reed were out, or Dobbs and Watson were out, or all three of them were out, they were missing at least 2/3 of those guys all year. And now that they've got all three of them back and healthy at the same time, look what they're doing.
All right.
All right, so we're all going Chiefs?
Yes.
All right, this game, Bengals versus Jags. Bengals plus 10, over-unders 39, money lines plus 390 if you're betting on the Bengals, minus 520 if you're betting on the Jags.
Jags are going to win this game.
Yeah.
This is going to be a showcase for Trevor Lawrence. Like I was just saying, he's my QB 7, I think. Yeah, 7. I have Lawrence ahead of Herbert, ahead of Howell, ahead of Stroud, ahead of Goff this week on my list. I'm gonna move him up. I'm gonna move Mahomes down with knowing I would rather play Lawrence than Kyler rather than playing the Mahomes. The only quarterbacks I would rather start than Trevor Lawrence this week are Tua, Dak, Jalen Hurts, and Brock Purdy. That's it.
All right. Those are some good ones.
Right, but that's how and that's how good Lawrence is playing.
Yeah.
He is playing excellent football, and I think those the fantasy numbers are actually going to start to show that too.
Okay, and I think there's nothing new on the Jags side. Cincy,
ETN.
Who
Sorry,
do you start?
ETN is still up in the air. So that's something. If you're an ETN manager, go to your waiver wire right now and get Dearness Johnson if you haven't already. You should have him, and also make sure you move ETN to your flex because he should play, but just in case he doesn't play, you don't want to get caught without options.
Fair enough.
And then last up, I don't have the lines for it for whatever reason.
It shouldn't be available yet, I don't think.
Is Patriots versus Steelers.
All right, give me the Steelers.
You mean Belichick versus Tomlin?
Right.
Are we all going Steelers on this?
I do like the Steelers, or excuse me, I do like the Patriots more than their 2-9 record, and I do like to pick against Brian, but I'm not going to do that. I like this. The Steelers will win that. Smart man. And the Steelers, so when we get back together, the Steelers are going to be 9-5. Is that
Let's hope.
Is that the record? Is that what we're? Or is it no 10-4? No.
Yeah. No, we're 7-4, so it would be 9-4.
9-4. 9-4. Like you guys, so you guys will be 9-4 when we get back together.
Let's
that's
hope.
insane.
Come on, baby.
Real quick before we go.
We have the totals, right?
We could do that too. But while this is on my mind,
write the pie bet down.
Yes, I want to put the pie.
So the pie bet this week is Zach Moss for me, and he has Alvin Kamara.
All right, and this is points scored.
Yeah, fantasy points. Yes.
Okay. All right. So now you want to go with the picks.
Count them up.
We can count
Compare.
them up.
Let's do our comparison. Let's see how good we're doing. We're at the 3/4 mark.
So let's see here. We're going to read off maybe 10 of them or so, but CBS Sports leading the way. Jared Dubbin at 119 correct picks. And keep in mind that Ken is at 117 and me and Brian are both at 110 right now. FanDuel's at 118. Gridiron experts are at 118. Doug Burles from Gridiron.
So I'm beating all the individual guys. All right.
Well, these guys, yeah. Well, this is where you tie. DraftKings is where you tie.
Right, but individual guys, you've got. So I see Jamie Eisenberg.
Okay.
Jamie Eisenberg, Dave Richard are both CBS guys. They're very intelligent.
Well, here, I'll read them
football
out.
Analysts.
So this is where Ken starts to beat the experts. Tyler Sullivan from CBS Sports, Leo Sells from Gridiron Experts, Bill Bender from Sporting News, Jamie Eisenberg from CBS Sports, Dave Richard from CBS Sports, is where me and Brian begin to tie. Jason Reed with ESPN, Mike Clay with ESPN, and then we are all beating John Breach from CBS Sports, Pete Prisco from CBS Sports, Colleen Wolfe from NFL, Matt Bowen from ESPN, Seth Wickerson from ESPN, Will Brinson from CBS Sports, from Gridiron Experts, Jason Willian, and Nate Davis from USA Today.
That feels good, man.
Yeah.
I didn't think Ray and I were that high up. I
thought, yeah, exactly. I thought I'd be like mediocre by this point or something like that. Like to still be at the top is insane. So hey, if you're listening to this podcast, you're doing something right.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, let's go watch some football, people. It's time.
It is almost playoff time. I hope you guys, if you're listening to us, then you're right in the thick of things. Go get it. Woo! And don't start with Matthew Stafford over Brock Purdy. Don't listen to him.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next
Love you.
week.
Crush it.